Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking an ancient narrative that has absolutely captivated readers, theologians, and historians for thousands of years. It's a gripping story of morality, ultimate betrayal, and unimaginable divine consequence.
We're exploring the story of Prophet Lut, who is also widely known as Lot, and we're kicking things off with just a massive, mind-boggling question. How exactly did an ancient, thriving city transform into the ultimate, universal symbol of divine wrath? This isn't just a localized myth, it's a narrative that spans deep history and really anchors the theology of multiple major world faiths. To truly grasp the heavy weight of this story, we've got to start at the very beginning of Lut's journey.
But to understand that massive climax, we need to look at his origins. Section 1, A Prophet's Mission. According to the ancient texts, Prophet Lut's journey actually begins with his uncle, the deeply revered Prophet Ibrahim. You see, Lut stood by Ibrahim when others ridiculed his message, and the two of them traveled extensively together across land and sea, migrating toward Palestine. It was during this long migration that Lut's path diverged. He received his own specific divine decree. He was chosen to be a prophet and messenger to the people of a city called Sodom, which was situated right on the border of Jordan and Palestine. His mission was crystal clear: guide a people who had severely strayed back to the worship of God.
So Lut gets his divine decree, but what exactly was he walking into in this thriving trade hub? Well, let's get into Section 2, the corruption of Sodom.
The source texts are remarkably explicit here. They pull absolutely no punches about the city's rampant criminal activity. Sodom was this wealthy hub for merchants and businessmen, but it's described as the single most corrupt city of its time. The local population regularly waylaid and robbed travelers passing through, often resorting to absolutely merciless murder. Furthermore, the texts explicitly note that this nation was the very first to introduce the practice of homosexuality into the world. According to the narrative, no one in the history of mankind had experienced or practiced it before Sodom, and the population there engaged in it openly and proudly as a societal norm.
So Prophet Lut settles into this deeply, deeply corrupt environment and begins what has to be a wildly daunting mission. The text describes Lut literally begging his people to change their ways and stop their transgressions. He approaches the men of the city and pleads, "Will you not fear Allah and obey him? Verily, I am a trustworthy messenger to you." When the men suspect he's just trying to gain power or wealth from them, Lut immediately counters that he asks for absolutely no reward from them at all. His reward is only from the Lord of the worlds. He firmly disapproves of their highway robbery, their murders, and their sexual practices, warning them of severe divine punishment.
And here is the crucial point: their reaction. You'd think maybe they'd listen, or at least just ignore him, right? Nope. Despite years of relentless effort, the texts tell us not a single person in the city embraced his message. Instead of repenting, they actively conspire against him. They mock him, they threaten to expel him from the city just for telling them to stop their practices, and then they boldly issue a terrifying challenge: "Bring us the punishment of Allah, if you should be of the truthful." They are literally daring the divine to act, no fear whatsoever.
That escalating tension, that outright defiance, it brings us right to the narrative's tipping point. Section 3, The Heavenly Guests.
Things unfold incredibly fast here. First, Allah sends 3 angels, including the angel Jibril or Gabriel, completely disguised as handsome young men. They initially visit Prophet Ibrahim, who actually doesn't recognize them and tries to feed them a grand feast, which they refuse. Then they proceed to Sodom. Lut's believing daughter spots them and warns her father. Lut, knowing the extreme danger these handsome strangers are in given the city's notorious habits, intercepts them. He's too embarrassed to outright tell them to leave, so he quietly hides them in his own home. But here is the tragic twist. Lut's own wife, who the text notes is a non-believer, sneaks out and alerts the corrupt townspeople that her husband is harboring attractive young men.
The town's reaction is just instantaneous and violent. A massive mob surrounds Lut's home, pounding on the doors, demanding he hand over his guests. Lut is standing at his door, desperately trying to protect the people he believes are just innocent travelers. He shouts out to the crowd, "Do not disgrace me concerning my guests. Is there not among you a man of reason?" He even goes as far as to offer the women of the nation, his daughters, for lawful marriage, pleading with the crowd to choose a lawful path rather than attacking his guests. But the mob? They are completely unswayed. They refuse to listen to any reason at all, shouting back, "Have we not forbidden you from hosting people?" and state plainly that they have zero interest in his daughters.
They make it terrifyingly clear exactly what they intend to do to the guests inside, and the crowd begins physically breaking down Lut's door.
You can really feel the weight of this moment. Lut is at his absolute breaking point. It's literally one man standing against an entire city. The text reveals his deep internal despair. If only I had against you some power, or could take refuge in a strong power. He feels completely, utterly powerless against this encroaching, violent crowd.
And then, just as the door is about to give way, the guests finally speak up. They reveal their true identity. They say, "O Lot, indeed we are angels of your Lord. They will never reach you." In a stunning moment of awe and sheer power, Angel Jibril steps out of the house and with a single strike causes the entire mob of men to lose their eyesight. Shocked, completely blinded, and enraged, the men stumble away, screaming about magic and vowing to return in the morning to destroy Lot.
The mob stumbles away, vowing to return, but morning is going to bring something entirely different for Sodom. Section 4. Escape and Destruction.
The angels issued these incredibly strict, honestly chilling survival instructions. The divine appointment for the city's destruction is set precisely for the morning. Lut is commanded to set out with his family in the dead of night. The most crucial rule, let not any among you look back. But there is a haunting exception explicitly noted in the text. Lut's non-believing wife, the one who betrayed the angels to the mob, is not to be saved. She will remain behind and be struck by the exact same punishment that will obliterate the rest of the city.
As instructed, Lut and his daughters flee into the dead of night. And when morning arrives, the text states that Sodom is just completely obliterated. Prophet Lut safely reaches his uncle Abraham, and the two continue spreading their message for the rest of their lives. As for the city of corruption, the Quran notes that the ruins of the city are right on the high road, a location that today is marked by the desolate, lifeless waters of the Dead Sea. It serves as a perpetual, physical reminder of divine wrath.
Now, Surah Tahrim really cements the deep theological point being made here. It sets up a powerful parable, comparing the wife of Noah and the wife of Lot. Think about it. Both were married to incredibly righteous prophets, living in the exact same home as divine messengers. Yet, because they acted treacherously and actively chose disbelief, their husbands could not save them. The lesson here is stark. Mere physical proximity to a righteous person cannot save someone who acts treacherously and rejects the truth. Spiritual accountability is entirely individual.
Now, this singular event didn't just stay isolated in one text. It literally echoed across world history. Let's look at Section 5, a shared Abrahamic legacy.
When we lay the Quranic text side by side with the Hebrew Bible, it's fascinating. We clearly see the exact same historical and geographical cautionary tale being told. The Quran describes the ruined cities as a physical sign left right on the high road, while in the book of Deuteronomy, Moses uses the exact same imagery to warn his people. He describes a cursed land as a burning waste of salt and sulfur, nothing planted, nothing sprouting, exactly like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's an enduring shared geographical warning.
And we can actually take this a step further into the New Testament. The Quran really emphasizes the sheer suddenness of that morning punishment, striking the city precisely when they thought they had the upper hand and were completely unaware. Well, in the Gospel of Luke, Jesus utilizes the exact same suddenness of Sodom's destruction as a direct parallel for his own second coming. He warns that people were eating, drinking, buying, and selling, entirely unaware, right up until the exact day Lot left and fire rained down. The narrative serves as a universal template for sudden, unexpected divine judgment.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. How has one ancient narrative of a prophet, a deeply corrupt city, and a miraculous escape continued to shape the moral foundations of literally billions of people today? What does it actually say about human nature, justice, and the concept of divine boundaries that this specific story of morality, betrayal, and ultimate consequence has endured so powerfully across Islam, Judaism, and Christianity? It's a heavy question, right? And one that absolutely warrants further exploration. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you on the next one.